The Line and the Stars. Captain Ilara Vega stood at the observation deck of the Earth Alliance flagship Sentinel, watching the stars glimmer against the vast darkness of space. Terrasil 9 rotated slowly beneath them, its blue-green surface mottled with white clouds. The colony had thrived here for 15 years, a testament to human resilience on the edge of explored space. "Captain, we're detecting an anomaly at the edge of the system," Lieutenant Chen reported, her voice steady despite the unusual readings on her console. Ilara turned, her dark eyes narrowing. "What kind of anomaly?" "Unknown ship signatures. 3 vessels, approximately twice the size of our cruisers. They don't match any known configuration in our database." Ilara felt a familiar tightness in her chest, the mixture of dread and excitement that came with first contact scenarios. In the 30 years since humans had ventured beyond their solar system, they'd encountered only 2 other spacefaring species. Both encounters had been peaceful, if somewhat tense. "Alert Governor Rhodes and put the colony defense grid on standby." "Not active, just ready." Her orders were calm but firm. "Let's not appear threatening, but I want us prepared." The ships appeared suddenly, dropping out of what looked like folded space rather than the jump points humans utilized. Their hulls were a deep purple-black material that seemed to absorb light, with angular protrusions that resembled crystalline formations. "They're hailing us," Lieutenant Chen announced. On screen, the view screen flickered to life, revealing a being unlike any Ilara had seen before. Its skin was silvery with a subtle iridescent quality, its head elongated with no visible ears. 4 eyes, 2 large primary ones and 2 smaller ones above, blinked independently at her. The being had no visible nose, only breathing slits, and when it spoke, its mouth moved in unusual patterns. "Greetings, human vessel," the being said, its voice translated through the ship's eye. "I am Overseer Sealer of the Novan Collective. We have observed your settlement on this world and wish to establish diplomatic relations." Ilara straightened. "I am Captain Ilara Vega of the Earth Alliance. We welcome peaceful contact with the Novan Collective." The diplomatic dance began. Over the next 3 weeks, meetings were held both on the Sentinel and at the colony's administrative center. The Novans were cautious but curious, particularly about human social structures. Governor Rhodes, a seasoned diplomat, led most of the negotiations while Ilara maintained security. "They ask a lot of questions about our families," Rhodes commented one evening, reviewing the day's diplomatic logs with Ilara, "especially about our children." "What kind of questions?" Ilara asked, an uneasy feeling settling in her stomach. "How long our young develop, how we educate them, why we dedicate so many resources to beings that can't contribute to society for many years." Rhodes shrugged. "I explained that children are sacred to us, that protecting and nurturing the next generation is fundamental to human culture." Ilara nodded slowly. "And how did they respond?" "They seemed puzzled." Overseer Sealer explained that Novan offspring are self-sufficient almost immediately. They emerge from gestation pools already possessing basic knowledge and develop to maturity within a year. "That explains their interest," Ilara said. "Different species, different biology." Yet something about the intensity of their curiosity bothered her. When drafting the preliminary cooperation treaty, Ilara insisted on including explicit protection clauses for citizens of both species, with special emphasis on children. "The Novans might find this redundant," Rhodes warned. "Then they shouldn't mind including it," Ilara replied firmly. When presented with the treaty, Overseer Sealer paused at that section, 4 eyes blinking in sequence. "You place extraordinary emphasis on your young," the Novan observed. Ilara stepped forward. "Let me be clear, Overseer. For humans, there is no greater offense than harming a child. It is the one line that, if crossed, would unite all of humanity in response. We would expend any resource, suffer any hardship, to protect our children. I want there to be no misunderstanding on this point." Ziller's head tilted slightly. "Your species' attachment to undeveloped members is noted. We have no interest in your reproductive practices or offspring. The treaty is acceptable. The signing ceremony proceeded without incident, and a cautious peace settled over the colony. Trade negotiations began, with the Novans particularly interested in Earth's artistic and cultural creations. Music, literature, and visual arts seemed to fascinate them. 2 months after first contact, Ilara received a distress call that would change everything. Captain, Lieutenant Chen's voice cracked with urgency. Emergency transmission from Outpost Theta. Outpost Theta was the colony's furthest research station, housing 30 scientists and their families, including 12 children. Put it through, Ilara ordered, already moving toward the bridge. Dr. Maya Lin's terrified face appeared on screen, static cutting through the transmission. They've taken them. A Novan vessel landed without warning. They used some kind of stasis field. We couldn't move. They took our children. All of them. Ilara felt her blood turn to ice. Dr. Lin, stay calm. We're coming to you. When did this happen? 20 minutes ago. Their ship is still in orbit. Captain, they said. They said they were collecting specimens for study. They called our children specimens. Ilara's composure hardened into cold fury. Lieutenant, battle stations. Alert Governor Rhodes and send word to Earth Command. Tell them the Novans have abducted human children from Outpost Theta. The response was immediate. The Sentinel accelerated toward the outpost at maximum speed, while 2 patrol vessels moved to intercept the Novan ship still orbiting the research station. Open a channel to Overseer Xilar, Ilara commanded. When the Novan leader appeared on screen, Ilara didn't wait for pleasantries. Return the children you took from Outpost Theta. Immediately. Xilar's expression remained impassive. Captain Vega, there is no cause for alarm. We are conducting important developmental research. The specimens will be returned once our studies are complete, approximately 40 of your days. Specimens. Ilara's voice was dangerously quiet. Those are children, Overseer. Human children. You've violated our treaty and crossed the one line I explicitly warned you about. The treaty prohibits harm. Xilar responded. We will not harm these young ones. We merely wish to understand their prolonged dependency and cognitive development patterns. It is fascinating from a scientific perspective. Ilara leaned forward. You have 6 hours to return every child, unharmed, to Outpost Theta. After that, you will face the consequences. Xilar's secondary eyes blinked rapidly. The first sign of emotion Ilara had seen from the alien. Captain, I must point out that our vessels outclass yours in both defensive and offensive capabilities. We have studied your technology. Your weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Your engines cannot match our speed. What consequences could you possibly deliver? 6 hours, Overseer, Ilara repeated. Return our children, or you'll learn exactly what humanity is capable of when its young are threatened. She terminated the transmission and turned to her communications officer. Send an encrypted message to Earth Command. Authorization code Vega Alpha 73. Message begins. Activate Protocol Nemesis. Children taken. We warned them. As the message was sent, Ilara stared at the view screen where Outpost Theta and the Novan vessel hung in orbit around Terrestrial 9. They really have no idea what they've done, she whispered. Lieutenant Chen looked up from her station. The Novans are powering engines. They're leaving the system. Ilara nodded grimly. They think they have nothing to fear from us. They're about to learn how wrong they are. In the vast emptiness of space between stars, the Novan research vessel accelerated away from Terrestrial 9, unaware that they had just unleashed a fury unlike anything their species had ever encountered. They had crossed the line drawn in the stars, and humanity's response was already in motion. Fury of the Guardians. The message from Captain Ilara Vega reached Earth Command within minutes, transmitted through quantum relays that humanity had quietly developed over the past decade. Admiral Helena Reyes read the report twice, her weathered face hardening with each word. Activate Protocol Nemesis, she ordered, her voice echoing through Earth Command's Central Operations Room. Priority Alpha. Authorization raise Omega-91. Throughout human-controlled space, a transformation began. Ships that had appeared to be standard military vessels dropped their external hull plating, revealing advanced weapon systems that had been kept hidden from alien observation. Stealth satellites in orbit around Earth colonies activated, forming an interconnected network that could track ships moving through fold space. Research stations that officially conducted atmospheric studies revealed their true purpose. They housed prototype technology that humanity had developed, but never displayed to their galactic neighbors. Protocol Nemesis was humanity's contingency plan, a carefully guarded secret meant for one scenario only: the abduction or harm of human children by an alien species. Admiral Reyes addressed the United Earth Council in an emergency session. 12 children have been taken by the Novan Collective from Outpost Theta on Terrasil 9. Captain Vega has issued an ultimatum, but intelligence suggests the Novans intend to continue with their research. We are activating Protocol Nemesis effective immediately. There was no debate, no hesitation. Every counselor voted unanimously to proceed. The Novans believe they understand human capabilities. Rice continued. They don't. Humanity has always held back, presenting ourselves as technologically inferior to potential threats. Today, that changes. Across human space, specialized crews boarded ships that had been prepared for this day. Among them was the Retribution, Earth's most advanced vessel, a ship that officially didn't exist. Commander Asher Kwan took command, his orders clear: retrieve the children and demonstrate to the Novans exactly what it meant to cross humanity's one absolute line. Meanwhile, on the Sentinel, Captain Ilara Vega received her new orders. She assembled her crew and the families from Outpost Theta. The Novans have ignored our warnings, she told them, her voice steady despite her rage. They believe we are weak. They've calculated our weapons, our ships, our capabilities, and determined we pose no threat. A cold smile crossed her face. What they don't know is that everything they've seen of human technology has been carefully curated. Every ship design, every weapon specification made visible to alien eyes has been precisely what we wanted them to see. Dr. Maya Lin, her eyes red from crying, looked up. What does that mean for our children? It means, Ilara replied, that we're going to get them back. All of them. And the Novans will never forget the lesson they're about to learn. Aboard the Novan research vessel Empirical Truth, Overseer Xelar observed the human children through a surveillance field. They had been separated into individual containment units, sterile environments where their behavior could be monitored. Many were crying. Some were attempting to break free, and a few sat in silent terror. Fascinating resilience, Research Director Tavik commented, making notes on his datapad. Even the smallest ones show remarkable problem-solving skills under stress, and their emotional responses are extraordinarily complex. Indeed, Sealer agreed. Their attachment behaviors are particularly interesting. They call for their parents despite the obvious futility. Such dependency seems inefficient for species survival. An alarm sounded, interrupting their observations. Overseer, a Novan technician, called out, "We're detecting unusual energy signatures pursuing our course." Human vessels? Sealer asked, unconcerned. Unknown configuration, but the energy output exceeds anything in our database on human technology. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Sealer's features. Increase speed. Contact the Collective Council. Report that humans may have concealed technological capabilities. The technician worked the controls, then looked up in alarm. The pursuing vessels have accelerated. Their speed, it's impossible. They're overtaking us. Sailor moved to the command console, four eyes widening as data streamed across the screen. These readings can't be accurate. No species at the human's development stage could produce engines capable of these velocities. On the main view screen, 7 ships appeared, their designs unlike the bulky, functional vessels the Novans had observed at Terrasil 9. These ships were sleek, almost predatory in appearance, with hull materials that seemed to shift colors as they moved, sometimes appearing almost invisible against the backdrop of space. "We're being hailed," the technician announced. Zelar straightened. On screen, Captain Ilara Vega's face appeared, but she was no longer wearing the standard Earth Alliance uniform. Instead, she wore a matte black combat suit with subtle insignia that Sealer didn't recognize. "This is Captain Ilara Vega of the Earth Guardian Fleet. Your time is up, Overseer. Return our children." Guardian Fleet. Sealer's confusion was evident. "Our intelligence indicates no such human military division exists." "There's a great deal your intelligence doesn't know about humanity," Ilara replied coldly. "The Earth Alliance that you've been negotiating with represents only what we choose to show potential threats. The Guardian Fleet activates for one purpose only: when children are endangered." Taylor's secondary eyes blinked rapidly. "Captain, I believe there has been a misunderstanding. We are conducting non-invasive research. The specimens—" "Children," Ilara interrupted. "They are children, not specimens. And you were warned." Before Zealer could respond, alarms blared throughout the Novan vessel. The ship shuddered as invisible tethers latched onto its hull, bypassing shields that should have been impenetrable. "Impossible," Research Director Tavik whispered. "Their technology can't." The view screen split to show a second human face, a man with calm, determined eyes. "This is Commander Asher Kwan of the Retribution. Your shields have been neutralized. Your engines are disabled. You have 30 seconds to power down all systems and prepare to be boarded, or we will cut our way in." Zealer looked at the tactical display in disbelief. 7 human ships had surrounded them, employing technology that shouldn't exist. The Novan vessel's supposedly superior systems were being systematically disabled by precision attacks that targeted critical nodes while carefully avoiding sections where their sensors detected human life signs. "How are they locating the children?" Tavik asked, bewildered. Zealer suddenly remembered something from the treaty negotiations: Captain Vega's insistence on medical exchange protocols. Standard DNA samples had been shared as part of disease prevention measures. They planned for this, Zealer realized. From the beginning, they prepared for the possibility that someone might take their young. The ship trembled again as force fields throughout the vessel began failing one by one. "We must comply," Zealer decided. "Power down all systems except life support." 15 minutes later, Captain Ilara Vega led the boarding party onto the Novan research vessel. The boarding teams moved with precision, neutralizing Novan resistance with non-lethal weapons that rendered the aliens unconscious instantly. Ilara headed directly for the containment section, following the biological trackers that pinpointed each child's location. The first child she found was 6-year-old Mira Lin, huddled in a corner of her sterile cell. The moment the barrier field disappeared, the girl looked up with tear-stained cheeks. "Captain Vega," she whispered. Ilara knelt down. "We've come to take you home, Mira. All of you." As each child was recovered, medical teams assessed their condition. Physically, they were unharmed, though many showed signs of psychological distress. Within an hour, all 12 children had been transferred to the Sentinel, where their parents waited. Ilara returned to the Novan Command Center, where Overseer Sealer and the senior research team had been detained. "You don't understand what you've done," Ilara told Sealer, her voice dangerously quiet. "Not yet, but you will." She gestured to Commander Kwan, who activated a holographic projection. It showed Novan ships throughout nearby sectors being intercepted by human vessels that had seemingly appeared from nowhere. Every Novan ship, outpost, and colony within 50 light years has been located and contained, Ilara explained. "Your long-range communications have been blocked. Your homeworld has received a message from Earth Command explaining exactly why this is happening." Zealer stared at the displays in shock. "This response is disproportionate. We conducted research on children." Ilara cut him off. Let me explain something fundamental about humans that you fail to understand. We can forgive many things. We can negotiate, compromise, and adapt. But the safety of our children is non-negotiable. She leaned closer. For millennia, humans fought each other over territory, resources, ideology. But one principle remained constant across every culture. Those who harm children face the harshest consequences. When we ventured into space, we brought that principle with us. Commander Kwan stepped forward. Protocol Nemesis isn't just a military response. It's a message to any species that might consider targeting human children in the future. What happens now? Sealar asked, four eyes blinking nervously. Now, Ilara said, representatives from the actual Earth government will arrive to negotiate new terms with your collective council. Terms that will include significant reparations to the families whose children you traumatized, and binding agreements about respecting human values and boundaries. She turned to leave, then paused. One more thing, Overseer. The technology you've witnessed today, it's only a fraction of what we've developed but chosen not to display. Remember that, should your species ever consider crossing us again. 3 weeks later, Captain Ilara Vega stood in the observation lounge of the Sentinel, watching as the children from Outpost Theta played in the colony's rebuilt recreation center below. The psychological wounds would take time to heal, but children were remarkably resilient. Admiral Rice joined her, having arrived with the diplomatic team that was finalizing the new treaty with the significantly more cooperative Novan representatives. The Collective Council has formally apologized, Rice informed her. They've agreed to all our terms, including permanent Novan recognition of human guardianship principles. Ilara nodded, and the research data they collected, destroyed, along with any copies. We've also installed monitoring systems in their networks to verify compliance. They watched in silence as the children below laughed, their earlier ordeal gradually fading from immediate memory. Word has spread, Rice said finally. 3 other spacefaring species have reached out through our existing diplomatic channels, requesting clarification on human protection protocols regarding children. Good, Ilara replied. Let them all know. Some lines should never be crossed. In the vast expanse of the galaxy, as news traveled between the stars, a new understanding emerged about the species called human. They were not the technological inferiors many had assumed. They were not the easy targets some had calculated. They were protectors, guardians who had developed in secret the means to defend their most vulnerable members at any cost. And they had drawn a line in the stars that no wise species would ever cross again.